scenario in which India forms an empire. You may know this is the second time I'm doing it, but you know why? Because nobody watched it the first time I made it. If that makes sense to you guys. And now it's India's time to shine. Who do you think will be upset about this? Oh wait, it's Bangladesh who's upset. That's sad. Bangladesh, what'd they do to deserve this? Nothing. And why do they get this? Because empires are mean. Whenever I shock, they go here first, but they see why. Because if the Indian Empire knows one thing, it's that this area can easily be cut off. As we have learned in the real world. And they don't want the Bangladesh for any reason to become Chinese aligned. Because they already have their enemies. And they take most of the water, and most of Bangladesh is 160 million. How do you have more people than Russia? Well, then again, the island of Java is your population. Or something crazy like that. It's just crazy. Considering India would have India, after doing this, would be the most populous nation. Because in the beginning of this video, they would have had 1.2 million. So now it's like 1.4 million. Which is a big expansion, in my opinion. 1.4 billion. Well, they expanded 160 million. That's a lot of people. It wouldn't be that easy to invade a country with that many people. And they probably have diversified their country. Which means they diversified it. And yeah, they then have their next goal, which is an invasion of Sri Lanka. Why does Sri Lanka get beat up now? Because they do. And yeah, they attacked on 2 fronts. Which is sad. This is what they now look like. India is stronger, by the way. Just to let you know, they border a lot of nations. Go back. Oh, wait, I forgot their island chain. The Sentinelese Islands. Don't go to North Sentinel Island. And yet, India is expanding. In my opinion, it kind of makes sense for them to take Oman. Why? Let's look at their geography. This would open them up to a lot of trade if they attack Oman. I don't know how, or if that's even right, but it does. With them establishing their navy. With their first naval progress happening around Sri Lanka. Where they make a big, area of naval dominance. And just because... Which they do not block Pakistani ships. Why? Because they don't want to raise tensions any further than they already should be. With them landing in Oman's water, and due to many countries complaining this is attacking their trade and threateningness of those countries, like Pakistan somehow is threatening. I don't know how. It's not like it has 200 million people, but I guess it does apparently have 2 million people. And yeah, I need to be careful to make sure I actually speak into my microphone. But I really think it's probably not that great when it sounds like I'm mumbling. What do you guys think? Well, I don't like it. Or maybe I'm just done talking those videos. I don't know. Oh no. Oh man, I'm being invaded. Yemen's like, yeah man. I'm relaxing in the civil war. Now you know how I feel. Okay, that's good. And my microphone is pretty tall, actually. Why am I saying that? Because I am. I guess I am. Maybe I'm not. As Wild Napper drinks his water. Okay, that's interesting. With Oman having 2 choices, surrender or continue fighting, they surrender over. India annexes them. Even though all they really needed was the coast, but there's nothing inland. with India starting its second military operation. Why am I calling it military operations and not war? Because I just am. Do you think they can beat Burma? I think they can easily. That's just my professional wild mapping opinion. As India stormed campaign. Yeah, peacemaking forces, I guess, might get sent in. And in my first video where this happened, there was a Thailand alliance, which I think I'm going to do again. Probably Vietnam would help, I guess. With them crippling Chinese trade, because I bet some goes through Burma. Which is pretty great for them, in my opinion. For India, at least. With quickly after this starts going well for India, Thailand gets involved as they storm the border, and India gets stronger and scarier. They take out Myanmar, which is very scary, and that's it. India and Thailand, with a puppet being created in Burma. And yeah, they have multiple areas they can expand to now, but suddenly and randomly, Bhutan suddenly recognizes China as a country. Okay, that's big. As China and Pakistan, Bhutan, and China still occupies these lands, start to make an alliance against them. Which quickly after, Nepal joins, Saudi Arabia joins, UAE, Yemen, fearing Indian expansion, Laos and Cambodia, and, well, North Korea, along with Kyrgyzstan. Strategic move and moving across to Somalia. Well, as Somalia is technically not really a nation. Like a nation state more so. And India quickly moves its navy. Because they decide, yeah, this is the quickest way to move their naval vessels to Somalia. Just a straight line. As if that's even a straight line, it just looks straight, it's probably more curved. Well, that's kind of happening with some more pirates trying to fight back, but all the pirates are eventually killed. Okay? That's hard. With India quickly moving ships out of these waters. Why? They leave them there, but they don't want to cause tensions that are unneeded. With quickly, Ethiopia basically says we're ready. Which will probably trigger someone. But there's nothing they can do. With India making 2-3 landings and Ethiopia slamming across the border. And yeah, I think Somaliland is going to be a nation one day. And yeah, this happens with them leaving. With Ethiopia and India meeting at a negotiations table, in which India gives Ethiopia these lands and mostly follows the coast. With this being, Ethiopia gets 2 accesses to the coast, India gets access to these waters, and Ethiopia kind of decides to become an Indian ally and join the Indian Entente. With countries with them basically with Ethiopia annexing their lands. And then India annexes their lands, but Ethiopia decides to join the Indian Entente. Why am I calling it an Entente? Because it kinda is an Entente. With countries like Egypt and Sudan and Eritrea joining China's side. But Vietnam starts negotiating in secret with South Korea too. Taiwan hit 3. And Tajikistan starts negotiating with them. But it looks like India is going to continue into Afghanistan as they have made a bogus claim on Afghanistan. And this from Iran, with these countries starting to see the India threat and join this alliance. But as all of a sudden this game has changed when Vietnam, South Korea, and Taiwan join. Along with Japan, who says if we get some land, we'll join, and Russia just dies. Wait, what am I saying? They died? Yeah. They don't exist anymore. And yeah, the war completely breaks out as China declares war on India. All of their alliances pulled into this war, but luckily for China, they had troops along with North Korea stationed and ready. And yeah, their navies aren't on ready yet, but will quickly be. And this kind of happens, with India being completely in a bad spot as two fronts get crushed. And yeah, on two fronts they fall back to the alliance, with Thailand falling back in northern lands in Vietnam, further north than North Vietnam, with them trying to take out the puppet state established. With their naval dominance, the Indian Navy manages to cut off a full-on naval blockade of these waters, which leads them to start moving in. With these countries thinking they had a chance in these waters of battle, now seeing that their chances were lost. But they know they might be able to keep the Persian Gulf and the Red Sea, but is quickly overshadowed as they enter the Red Sea. Yeah, and they take the full Red Sea, with the Persian Gulf having the same fate. And India starting to send naval vessels to Chinese waters, which somehow go to success. I wonder why it goes to success. It's not like they're using but these are American vessels. What? As they start noticing this, China sends a declaration of war all the way to the United States of America after they bomb Los Angeles. Sadly, they decide to do that to escalate this war. But with America already in this war, not much of a big deal. With India just waiting for American supplies to come, as their army was under-equipped for this large scale of a war, with the majority of the population being taken. But this is where the Indian forces get resupplied and stuff by American forces, and they change the tides of this war as they move north. I'm doing this to Pakistani forces as they move them out of these lands, as they move into their claw. I don't know what the area is called, but I call it the claw. And American forces land here and say they see me rolling, basically. And they start doing this. With Indian forces, with these American help, manage to take good measures to gain land. The American forces being sent into Ethiopia now, before any fighting could start, with Ethiopia quickly invading into these lands. And yeah. But India comes up with a purely smart strategy as they invade Iran, along with American forces. And China sees this as surprising, considering nobody expected India to do this as they're losing their land. As this even happens, they take Tehran, as Iran is unable to fight, basically, so that basically will happen. With them moving up the coast and here. As they move their forces through here to get around these mountains, they go up here. And they do this. but under the one condition that Azerbaijan gets its lawful land, they say. They basically will give Turkey and Iran land in Azerbaijan because they were a part of it. They just didn't declare war. So, but nobody knows the Turkish forces did enter. It's just not even thought of. With them even landing in Pakistan by Karachi, which they managed to take Karachi. This sends panic in Pakistan, leading them to withdraw most of their forces, which they were occupying all of this land. As they are then invaded from here after India gets its forces there. With them starting to invade Pakistan, Afghanistan, with them getting Tajikistan to help them as they. But this is not to overshadow this front where Taiwan makes the landing. Yeah. And then Japan lands there, with South Korean forces moving north as they take out North Korea. With China's bulk of its military not in the right front, as the Shandong Peninsula falls and a lot of the coast starts to fall. But they barely have a big chunk of China's population, because remember, there's a line here. That's the divide with China's population, basically. Yeah, that's what they say. Do what you please with that. As they invade Yemen. Yeah, Yemen. How are they invading Yemen without getting collapsing? As Tajikistan gets connected with India's forces, India and Tajik forces move into Kyrgyzstan. As they cross, one of their goals is to liberate Xinjiang, they say. As Afghanistan is colonizable, it turns out. India does it. As now we don't need to worry about Talibans. Turns out. As they start their southward campaigns. With them looking for freedom as they move towards Nepal. And while Chinese forces in this region are caught off guard as they are pushed to here. And then here they give up, basically, as they leave. As they are told to protect China at all costs. At all costs, they're told to protect China. Or else, well, it turns out they have helmets to deal with that. That's bad. Well, maybe that's not right, but maybe it is. Who knows? Yeah. Yeah. But China's policy of defend China at all costs does have some major impacts on the battlefield in this region in specific. As they now have one small front to hold up against, with American forces withdrawing, moving all to there in this region. With the rest of Southeast Asia, Taiwan and Vietnam play a game of tag, who can invade it faster, and they both win. With Vietnam starting its campaign as American forces barely able to move with the fight at all costs initiative. But as we can tell, the fight at all costs initiative eventually fails, as America just does this. And opens 3 new fronts for China to worry about. Which quickly becomes one consolidated front. With them even doing this, making it a multiple front. But yeah, they consolidate it once more. With Arabia basically forced to surrender. As this kind of happens. With India reliberating all of its lands. And many countries are going to benefit off this. of Pakistan falling, and then these guys just saying, yeah, we're done. They want to preserve as much life. And yeah. But yeah, this kind of happens. With Beijing being a big objective. Beijing is the most success they have in one day. With India starting to say we want all of Tibet. Not Tibet. What's Tibet? As East Turkestan even falls. And China is left with two choices. Surrender or die. Yeah. They'll die either way. So gain land from Sudan and annexed Eritrea. America takes that, Azerbaijan. Turkey take a small amount of land. India takes this. Tibet. They make East Turkestan a country. That. Vietnam, Laos, Myanmar, Thailand, Taiwan, Democratic China. We have Japan, South Korea, who expanded well. And the thumbnail won't look exactly like this because I don't think it looks like a good thumbnail. So please like and subscribe. It's important that you guys subscribe because it would mean a lot. That's why I want you to subscribe. And plus, we're trying to get to 175 subscribers by February 1st. It's June 16th. So we're running out of time. But we are growing steadily, so we probably will make it. So please like and subscribe for that reason. That's all for today's video because, well, it is. Please like, subscribe, comment, share this video, Wild Mapper.